we've for quite some time now been talking about Ozempic on this show. It's being heralded as a wonder drug when it comes to weight management. It was initially developed for treating type 2 diabetes, soon gained a reputation for helping people battle weight loss. I have much empathy for people who also consider weight management as something that plays on their mental health. So, in having previous conversations before, those who say, well, it can be used as a way of helping people see themselves in a better light. It sees them helping regain some mental health and some self-confidence, and if that means they're going to have a better self-image, if that means that then translate into a better and healthier living, why not endorse it? But there are many doctors who are warning as Ozempic as some sort of silver magic bullet. I'm joined now on the line by Dr. Marius Wasserfall, specialist physician at the Mediclinic group. Good morning, Marius. Really appreciate your time. I am someone who is, according to my doctor, and I'll self-identify as being overweight, but I haven't had a conversation with my doctor about any form of quick treatments. As a physician, as someone who interacts with patients over the last while, have you been asked by your patients about prescribing Ozempic?
Yeah, Lester, I think there are not a lot of doctors that have not been asked this question. On social media and everything in the world, people are aware of Ozempic, and they are perhaps a little bit misinformed about the registration and where Ozempic should be used, and then the difference between using this drug class, the GLP-1s, on the one hand side for diabetes, for which it is indicated, but on the other side, it is correct that there's a secondary weight loss effect. And that has taken off across the world, and there are a few GLP-1s that are coming to South Africa, which has got significant weight loss benefits. So yes, we are being bombarded with questions. And as you said, obesity is a problem for a lot of us. And in South Africa, you're looking at half our population that are already overweight or obese. I mean, that's a statistic we're only expecting in the world by 2030. And people struggle to lose weight, and there are physiological reasons why that is. So if there is a potential drug that can assist, one can understand people's excitement to try and get hold of this medication.
When we spoke about Ozempic as long ago as more than a year ago, South Africa was currently seeing a national shortage of Ozempic stock. Novo Nordisk, the pharmaceutical company who is the certificate holder for Ozempic in South Africa, said that they were in fact limiting access to treatment because they're saying this is for diabetes patients. What currently is the state of stock of Ozempic in South Africa?
No, I think the problem there again is that the off-label use for weight loss has probably caused much of the problem. And although stock is in a better situation than it was previously, there are still significant shortages. But I think it's important for people to realize that Ozempic is a low-dose semaglutide, which is indicated for the treatment of type 2 diabetes. And it's got cardiovascular protective effects, it's got kidney protective effects, but Ozempic at the dose that we have in South Africa currently under the brand name Ozempic, that is not the semaglutide dose that gives the 10 to 15% weight loss. That higher dose Ozempic is called Wegovy. That's a 2.4 milligram. It is not yet in South Africa. So Ozempic, as people know it, the 0.25, 0.5, and 1 milligram semaglutide, that is a diabetes drug, which also has about a 5-6 kilograms weight loss benefit. That is true. But now Ozempic is being prescribed and used off-label by a lot of overweight people. And, as we just said, obesity is a massive problem in South Africa and in the world. So the demand on this drug has outstripped supply. Not necessarily because the diabetics are getting it and using it for the current indications, but because of the off-label use, and there are so many people that are struggling with obesity, and that is outstripping the supply of the medication.
A message, Lester. I know someone who is not a doctor, but he's selling Ozempic for 1,500 Rand. And an injection. What's your concern about this, Marius?
No, we are deeply concerned. There has been an FDA warning as well as a SAPRA warning of purchasing these drugs on the black market. There has been reports across the world of these black market drugs, including insulin and various drugs that make people addicted and wanting more of the medication and having them end up in hospital. Some of these sites, if you scroll down to the bottom, at the top they'll say, we are selling Ozempic or Mounjaro without a script for this price. But if you scroll to the very bottom, there's actually a disclaimer that in probably font 4 that says drugs sold on this website are for animal and research uses only. They are not for human consumption. So black market drugs are incredibly dangerous. And I think that speaks to the fact that the GLP-1s as a class has got its own concerns. And people need to understand that there are side effects, there are risks, there are life-threatening risks, albeit low incidence. But you really need to discuss these options with your doctor against the background of your own medical history and your own risks. And then you have to weigh up the benefits to the risks and decide whether you want to use this drug. And then, incredibly important, people need to realize that once you start on this journey of the GLP-1s, as exciting as it is, as effective as it is, you have to stay on this medication lifelong. Because this medication works by regulating your appetite. So if you inject this medication, you do decrease your hunger hormones, you increase your satiety hormones, and you reduce gastric emptying, so you feel fuller, faster, and longer. But the moment you stop the drug, everything goes back to normal, and studies have shown that if you go on this drug for a year or year and a half, 2 years, and you reach a steady state weight where you're happy, the moment you stop the drug, you will regain more than 70% of that weight. So you're in for the long haul should you decide to do it. Now, remember, we also do not have a lot of studies looking at the long-term effects of these drugs. We think they are fairly safe, but there are significant risks in the short term. And you're talking about gastrointestinal side effects because of this delayed stomach emptying. So there's a lot of nausea and vomiting and diarrhea, and about 16% of people cannot tolerate the drug. But because of this slowing of emptying on your stomach, there's actually a risk of people developing gastroparesis, where the stomach doesn't empty at all. Or even there have been reports of bowel obstruction. Now, these are significant risks. So if you want to take a chance of buying something on the black market, you do not know what you're getting. You have to believe what they say on the website. And a lot of these are outside of registered indications. I think people need to be really, really careful and probably heed the safety calls from the regulatory authorities.
The few times that we've had this conversation of Ozempic, and we've had doctors providing caution, we've also had some doctors saying, well, the battle of weight loss is also psychological. And some have argued that if people who are overweight and they see themselves in a better light with something that is working for them, and that then has a knock-on effect that if you see yourself in a better light, you have greater self-confidence. Your mental health equals your physical health. What's your thoughts then on that, Marius?
No, I fully agree. But you have to consider the path that you are taking, because you can also achieve all of that, let's say, with bariatric surgery, which has got a much longer sustainable effect. It's been followed up over many years, but people are concerned about doing something as invasive, and they're not necessarily informed. So again, yes, the GLP-1s are incredibly exciting, and you need to realize that from a weight loss point of view, because of there are different pathophysiological mechanisms in eating. It's not just I make a decision to eat or not to eat. There's physiology in your brain. There are hormones regulating your appetite. And it's been shown that if overweight people lose about 5% of your weight, your body will increase your hunger hormones, decrease your satiety hormones, and decrease your metabolism in the body wants to defend your previous weight. So it makes it really difficult for people to lose weight. And that's why, statistically speaking, in ideal circumstances, less than 10% of people are able to lose 10% of their weight and keep it off. So now we've got medication that may, in the future, when we get the obesity indication, really be an exciting avenue, and it can speak to this incredible need in the obesity world. But people need to realize there are risks involved. And yes, the benefits, as you correctly state, you can, if you look at the benefits of weight loss, you're talking about cardiovascular benefits, renal benefits, cancer benefits, osteoarthritis benefits, psychological benefits. It's fantastic. But you need to be fully informed about the risks, because there are risks. And then you need to know that you are most likely going to be funding this out of your own pocket, because currently 95% of Ozempic and the weight loss drugs, the higher doses across the world, are funded out of pocket and not by medical aids and funding industries around the world. So if you want to commit to 2,500 Rand a month, lifelong, accept the risks, yes, there are amazing benefits, and this may be really important medication going forward. But I just think people need to be fully informed and know what they're in for before they start on this journey.
Dr. Marius Wasserfall, specialist physician at the Mediclinic Group.